Nikki. This is my speech on a case study, Coke versus Pepsi. During the Super Bowl, sponsors are willing to pay upwards of $4 million in attempts to convince consumers in just 30 seconds to choose their product over others. From events as large as the Super Bowl, or to just a small hometown game, companies come up with ideas such as billboard advertisement or TV commercials to promote their products in hopes of convincing consumers to buy it. We see various displays of marketing and advertising to promote these events and other sponsors associated with it. All of this comes into play from my case study, which is looking into one of the largest advertising rivalries on this planet, Coke versus Pepsi. Both companies dominate the soft drink industry and have been doing so for many years. Today, I will discuss the emergence, hardships, and opportunities that Coke and Pepsi had to endure when they decided to bring this rivalry into one of the largest and most populated countries in the world, India. In the early 1970s, Coke was leading the soft drink market in India, but was forced to leave the country in 1977 due to policy changes in the country. Coke was born 11 years before Pepsi was, in 1887, and a century later, Coke still seems to lead this rivalry with Pepsi right behind. Then moving into the late 1900s, Coke and Pepsi had a new battlefront for the two companies to open up, which happened to be India. Pepsi had led the soft drink industry for a little while, then Coke entered the race in 1993 by agreeing to a deal with Parlay, which had a 60% market share in the soft drink segment, with brands that included Limca, Tums Up, and Gold Spot. This had Coke on the rise to a market leader almost instantly, but the company didn't have all positives. In the first 7 years that Coke had been in India, they had fired a CEO 4 times. While during that time, Pepsi was still leading the race with a good strategic move that targeted the youth. One of the most important issues in this race was bottling the product, because it is a huge key to distribution. Coke was a franchise-driven company where they would supply the soft drink concentrate to bottlers all around the world, while Pepsi took a capital-intensive route where they had liked to own and run their own bottling factories. While both companies had different views on this, they had the same idea of becoming the leading soft drink company in India. Coke had a major stumble in the 1990s when they had a conflict with their main bottler partner, Ramesh Chauhan of the Parlay Group. Coke had said Chauhan was secretly manufacturing Coke's concentrate, but Chauhan wanted nothing to do with that, and then accused Coke of backtracking on commitments to grant him bottling rights in Pune in Bangladesh. Also threatened legal action with this. Antagonizing their main bottling partner probably wasn't a very good idea, and they settled things. While Coke was having some major issues, Pepsi did not want to sit back and watch, but wanted to make moves on bottling opportunities with their own companies. In 1997, many of Coke's bottlers' contracts were starting to expire, and Coke was pressuring them to sell out and even threatened to not redo their deals with the bottlers. Pepsi then began to make big moves, seeing an opportunity to better them. They even said that Pepsi would join hands with any disgruntled Coke bottler and were willing to shift to more of a franchise-owned bottling system. The bottling competition was a very important one and had many complications to go along with that both companies had to deal with moving forward. Another big issue on the Coke vs. Pepsi rivalry moving into India was advertising. Which company was going to get their product best seen by people in a positive way that they will then want to either buy Coke or Pepsi. At this time, in the mid-1990s, Pepsi had a more popular advertising campaign over Coke and was seen as a more positive one. Pepsi relied on movie stars, pop stars, and even cricket players to be the head of their campaigns because all of those things really attracted to people, and that's what people wanted to see. Then Coke, they focused their campaign on Indian culture and jingles based on Indian classical music. This worked as well as they would like. In 1997, there was a big battle to see who was going to bag the rights of the Cricket World Cup, where Coke had won, actually. In response to this, Pepsi had unleashed a campaign called Nothing Official About It, which was actually very successful and gave Pepsi a huge push in the India race. Throughout this campaign, on both parts, there was strong media controversy. India had excluded Rahul Dravid from the national cricket team, who happened to be pretty much Pepsi's model man, you could say, for the company. Nothing was proven over this, just raised some scrutiny. Coke definitely wasn't pleased over Pepsi's attempt to take over this race, so they got some revenge from themselves in 1997 with the Pepsi Asia Cup. Pepsi had branded this event, which was huge for them, but they did not snag the main sponsorship Coke had. Advertisements can play a huge part on a company's success no matter where it is. Slogans were actually a huge part in this race, and one of Pepsi's biggest slogans was "More football, more Pepsi," which was a big crowd pleaser. But then Coke came out and said, "Eat football, sleep football, only drink Coca-Cola," which was actually huge for Coke and had a lot of positive feedback from this. Some people could care less about which soft drink is better, but the fact that the colorful images, beautiful people and places, interesting storylines, and catchy jingles have made sure that the cola wars between these two massive companies rarely go unnoticed. The management of both these companies had to constantly adapt to the changing attitudes and demands of their consumers or lose the other company. Both Coke and Pepsi, from the beginning, had a goal to become the largest and best cola manufacturer that there was, period. They had set their goals and so far pretty much have achieved them, and this is why I chose this case study. It shows that two diehard companies fighting to be the best and willing to do anything necessary to win gold is huge, and that is why I really love this case study between Coke and Pepsi. Thank you.